Hey everybody. So those of you just signing on or your first time here, my name is Monica. And today I wanted to focus on the shoulders and the upper back to lead us into a more comfortable Urdhva Danurasana or wheel pose. And I thought we'd start on the floor today with just like a little bit of a stretch and establishing some alignment pointers that I'm going to refer to throughout the class. And I kind of just want to make sure we were on the same page before we actually started getting moving with the practice. But first, just a quick stretch, grab a block, and you're going to come to like a tabletop and you're going to bring your elbows to the block, palms together, and then bringing your forehead towards the floor, the hands towards the middle upper back, and then you're just sinking the chest towards the ground. And so you want to keep your elbows on the block, on the outside edge of the block, so that keeps the shoulders in external rotation. So you don't want the shoulders to come any further, any wider than that, so that you're stretching the right part of the shoulders when the shoulders are in external rotation. If the elbows go out too much, then they'll go into internal rotation and you won't be stretching the right part of the shoulder. So if you don't have a block, you can. This is like a version of puppy pose, but I think that like bending the elbows and putting the elbows on a block just gets a little bit deeper into that part of the shoulder. You're stretching like this front part of the shoulder that brings the shoulder into external rotation. You can also do it without a block and just do the same thing. And you might even need to do that if it's too deep with the block. So we'll just stay here for a little bit and you keep sinking the chest down. You have to just kind of move the knees around, see where it's comfortable to have the knees, how close. And use your breath, use the exhales to release a little bit more. Good. Let's stay here for a little bit longer. If this is super tight and uncomfortable for you, then you know you have tight shoulders, which is totally normal. A lot of us hold lots of tension in the shoulders. So as you start going into deeper back bends, the shoulders really need to be open in this direction. Also for handstands, just a random side note, you need that flexibility for handstands as well. All right, so if you've had enough, slowly come out of it. You can stay a little bit longer if you need to. And then just come back to a seated position. Just wanted to go over one quick thing. External rotation and internal rotation of the shoulders. So it's super important, I think, to really have that awareness in the shoulders. What's external rotation, what's internal rotation, because that's going to be informing the proper alignment for your Urdhva Danurasana and all the back bends. So if you just bring your arms out in front of you with the palms facing down. So the shoulders are kind of in a neutral position right now. And then if you spin the palms up, away from each other, away from the center line, that's external rotation. So just kind of feel that in the body. Understand that, okay, this is external rotation when the hands and the shoulders move away from the center line. And then when you spin the palms down, leading with the pinkies, you move into internal rotation. So the shoulders are moving internally in towards the center line. Same thing when you bring the arms out to the side. Spin the palms up and you're sort of leading with the pinkies, that's external rotation, and then spin down, leading with the thumbs, internal rotation. Good. So it's you're moving in the same direction, but when you move the arms to different orientations, it can maybe get a little bit confusing. So like bring the arms over your head, and again, spin the pinkies in, external rotation. So the shoulders moving externally from the center line, and notice that when you do that, the shoulders kind of move away from the ears. And now spin internally, leading with the thumbs, and notice that the shoulders start to kind of creep up towards the ears, internal rotation. Good. And now arms below the shoulders, internal rotation. So moving in, so the shoulders start to kind of, when you internally rotate the shoulders and the hands are below the shoulders kind of start to roll forward a little bit, and the shoulder blades move away from each other. And then external rotation, you start to flip the palms up and the shoulder blades sort of start to pinch each other and the shoulders move back. So just making sure you understand all those positions, because it's going to be really useful. And if it's not making sense now, then that's the purpose of this class, to just try that out in different positions so you can understand it better in the body. Cool? All right, let's get started. So come to the top of the mat into Samasitihi. And just take a couple deep breaths here to come into the body, shift the attention inwards. You can close the eyes if you'd like for this first part. Settling into the body, into the breath, observing the breath, noticing where the breath is today, what the quality of the breath is today, and if that's in any way a reflection of where we are physically, mentally, emotionally today. Just sort of taking note of all these internal happenings. All right, I'm bringing the palms to heart center. We'll start with the opening mantra. You can join me or just listen. Take a deep breath in. Vande Gurunam Charanaravinday Sandarshita Swatma Sukhavabode Nishreyase Jangali Kayamane Samsara Hala Hala Mohashantye Abahu Purushakaram Shankachakrasidharinam Sahasra Shirasam Shwetam Pranamami Patanjalim. Good. Exhale, bring the arms down to the side. Come to the top of the mat if you're not already there. We'll start with Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, we're going to externally rotate the shoulders as we bring them over your head. So leading with the pinkies, palms facing up. And as the palms come over the head, the palms press, elbows towards each other, and keep rolling the shoulders away from each other. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step or jump back into plank and bend the elbows for chaturanga. Lower the knees if you need to modify. Inhale, upward facing dog. Press the shoulders down. Exhale into downward facing dog. Good. So the arms are over the head here in downward facing dog. So the rule of thumb is to externally rotate. Arms over the head, externally rotate. Move the shoulders away from the ears. Feel like the shoulders are wrapping around towards the front of the body. And settle into the breath for 3, 4, establishing a deep, steady breath. Good. 5. Inhale, walk up to the top into half lift, lengthening. Exhale, folding forward, relaxing the neck. Inhale, pressing down to reach up again. Find that external rotation, palms press. Exhale, Samasitihi. Good. Again, same thing. Inhale, arms over your head. If you have really tight shoulders, you can keep the palms away from each other, but keep the palms facing each other. Keep that external rotation through the shoulders. Exhale, fold forward, bend the knees here if you need to. Inhale into half lift. Exhale, step or jump back, bend the elbows, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Lift through the chest. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. Settle into the breath, deep rhythmic breathing, inhaling and exhaling through the nose. 1, 2, relaxing the neck, gazing up towards the thighs. 3, check in with the shoulders, make sure they're moving away from the ears. 4, 5, fully exhaling. Inhale, step or jump into half lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, pressing down, reaching up, externally rotate, and now lift the ribcage away from the hips. Exhale, slowly floating the arms back down. Again, inhale, arms over your head, externally rotating, lift the ribcage, creating space. Exhale, fold forward, keep that space, and then fold into the space in the forward fold. Inhale into half lift. Again, pull the lower belly in, reach the ribcage away from the hips. Exhale, step or jump back, Chaturanga Dandasana. Keep the lower belly pulled in. Inhale, upward facing dog. Press the shoulders down, spread through the collarbones, but don't pinch the shoulder blades. Exhale into downward facing dog. Settle into the breath. 1. And as you're externally rotating through the shoulders, you're pressing down through the insides of the hands. So it sort of becomes like a counter action to the external rotation. So the lower part of the arms are internally rotating and the upper part of the arms are externally rotating. It's tricky, but see if you can find it. You counteract the external rotation in the shoulders by pressing through the base of the pointer finger. And that helps to really lock it in. 1 more breath here. Inhale, step or jump into half lift. Exhale, fold, fully exhaling. Inhale, coming up, pressing down, slightly tuck the tailbone and lift the ribcage away from the hips. Exhale, Samasitihi. Again, inhale, find the space as you root down through the feet. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step or jump back. Strong legs, strong core. Inhale, upward facing dog. Slightly bend the elbows and find an internal rotation through the shoulders, but spread through the collarbones. Exhale into downward facing dog. Good. So when the arms are below the shoulders, the hands are below the shoulders for a back bend, we internal rotation. It's very, very subtle on upward facing dog, but try to just not externally rotate the shoulders and pinch the shoulder blades there. So I'll detail it again in the next upward facing dog. Find the breath and stop thinking about upward facing dog here. Good. 4. 5. Inhale, step or jump into half lift. Exhale, folds forward. Inhale, pressing down, reaching up. Exhale, Samasitihi. Again, inhale, deep breath in. Exhale, full breath out, folding forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step or jump back, Chaturanga. Inhale, let's hold the upward facing dog. Sink the hips down, lift the ribcage away from the hips, slightly bend the elbows, and you're internally rotating through the shoulders really subtly so that you can not pinch the shoulder blades. You want the shoulder blades to move away from each other, but keep a nice opening through the collarbones. Keep lifting through the center of the chest. Exhale into downward facing dog. Good. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. Inhale, step or jump into half lift, lengthening. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, pressing down to reach up, lifting through the ribcage. Exhale, Samasitihi. Let's move into Surya Namaskar B. Inhale, Utkatasana. Bend the knees, lift the chest, strong legs. Exhale, fold forward, pull the lower belly in. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step or jump back, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Slightly bend the elbows, micro bend, and push, lift through the chest. Sink through the hips. Exhale into downward facing dog. Right foot forward. Inhale, arms over your head into external rotation to lift the rib cage. Sink the hips. Exhale, come right back down, move through your vinyasa, finishing the exhale at the bottom. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left foot forward. Inhale, externally rotate, wrap the shoulders around to the front. Exhale, come back down. Bending the elbows. Inhale, upward facing dog. Find the shoulders, press down through the shoulders. Exhale into downward facing dog. 1, 2. Remember, you could always take child's pose here if you need to. If you need the extra break to reestablish the connection to the breath. 3. 4. 5. Inhale, step or jump, half lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, bend the knees, lift the chest, keep pulling the lower belly in. Exhale, Samasitihi. Let's do one more Surya Namaskar B. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step or jump back. Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Pull the chest through the shoulder blades, but don't pinch the shoulder blades. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right foot forward. Inhale, deep breath in, wrap the shoulders forward. Press the palms, elbows towards each other. Exhale, come back down. Stay with the breath. Inhale, upward facing dog. Lift through the center of the chest. Stretch and lengthen through the front of the body. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left foot forward. Inhale, deep breath in. Find the shoulders. Exhale, full breath out. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. 1. Come back into the breath, steady breathing, matching the length of the inhales to the length of the exhales. 3, 4, 5. Inhale, step or jump, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, bend the knees, sink the hips low, find the shoulders, press through the palms, elbows towards each other. Exhale, Samasitihi. All right, Padangustasana. Bring the feet hip width distance apart. Inhale, fold forward, catch the big toes and lengthen through the spine. Strong legs, move the rib cage away from the hips, pull the lower belly in. And then exhale, fold as you keep moving the rib cage away from the hips, pulling in the lower belly. And then finally relaxing all along the spine. The lower back, the entire back, the neck. Bend the knees if you need to. And then move the shoulders away from the ears. 3, 4, 5. Inhale, lift the chest, hold it on the exhale. Padahastasana, slide the hands underneath the feet. Again, bend the knees if you need to. Find space, lengthen, and then exhale, fold into the space. 1. Gently pulling the crown of the head towards the floor. 2. If the legs are straight, then you're lifting the kneecaps, engaging, stabilizing the legs. 4. And continue relaxing along the back. One more breath. 5. Inhale, lift the chest, hold it on the exhale. Inhale, come all the way up to the top into Samasitihi. Uttita Trichenasana, inhale, step the right foot back, right toes towards the back, arms out to the side. Exhale, move into Trichenasana, right hand comes to the shin, to a block, or catch the big toe. Gazing up towards your left fingers, if that's too much on the neck, gaze to the side. 1, pressing down through both feet. 2, slightly tucking the tailbone and move the ribcage away from the hips. So finding space between the ribcage and the hips. And now coming into the shoulders, this is a really great place to establish that external rotation pattern through the shoulders. So rolling the shoulders away from the ears, the shoulder blades move down the back. It's a good place to establish the pattern for back bending. On your next inhale, press down to come up slowly with control. Keep the lower belly pulled in and then pivot the feet. Exhale into the other side, pressing evenly down through both feet. Take your version of Trichenasana. As you press through both feet, you're slightly tucking the tailbone, pull the lower belly in, keep lengthening through the spine, finding space, and then rolling the shoulders away from the ears. And notice how that helps to kind of like grow the spine a little bit. As you roll the shoulders away from the ears, shoulder blades down the back. Keep reaching out through that right hand so you're not dumping too much weight in the left hand. One more breath here. And inhale, come up all the way, pivot around, face the back. Now let's move into the twist. Let's take this one piece at a time because finding that mobility in the twist helps us in back bending. So squaring the hips, squaring the shoulders, you want the heels in line with each other or a little bit of space so the 2 feet can be in like 2 parallel lines. And now just moving into the forward fold, folding into the right hip crease. And the left hand comes to the outside of the right foot or the inside of the right foot. And you're going to press down through the left hand without dropping the left hip. So keep that left hip lifted so the hips stay in line with each other. And what's moving here, you're finding mobility in the upper part of the torso, in the upper spine, which is tricky to get into. And that's why sometimes you have a hard time in back bending because we don't have that mobility in the upper spine. But see if you can isolate the hips and the rib cage. The hips stay in one line and the rib cage is rotating around the hips as you press down through the left hand, and reach up through the right hand, spreading across the collarbones, and again, moving the shoulders away from the ears. Good, take one more steady breath. Inhale, slowly come out of it. Good. So building that awareness of kind of isolating the hips and the ribcage, even though they're not actually isolated, but to get that rotation through the spine. Exhale. Folds forward, right hand comes to the floor. Use a block here. If the palm isn't flat, put the hand on a block so you can get that palm as flat as possible. So you can press down through the right hand, open across the chest, and rotate the rib cage away from the hips. Keep the hips in line with each other, so don't let that right hip drop. Keep lifting that right hip as you press the right hand down. And then to create some space between the rib cage and the hips, to feel that isolation, pull the lower belly in slightly, tuck the tailbone under, and that'll help you find some more space between the rib cage and the hips. So you can find that rotation of the rib cage up towards the ceiling. One more breath. Good. On your next inhale, slowly coming out of it. Exhale into Samasitihi. All right, Voltanasana. Inhale, step the right foot back. Wider stance, right toes out to the side, bend into the right knee. Exhale, forearm on the thigh, or right hand to the floor, and reach the left arm over the head. 1, keep bending into the right leg. Strong legs, feel the legs working. So you also need strong legs for Urdhva Danurasana. I know we're not focusing on that, but this is a good place to strengthen the legs if you feel your legs are a little bit weaker. 4, trying to get that 90-degree angle with the right leg. 5, inhale, come up. Pivot the feet. Exhale, other side. Good, and also notice here is an opportunity to again find the external rotation through the shoulder. So you're spinning the pinky towards the ground and moving the shoulder away from the ear. And then from there you can reach through the right hand to sort of feel like you're moving the rib cage away from the hips as you press down through the right foot. Good. One more smooth breath. And inhale, slowly come up. Good. All right. Parsvakonasana B, come down to the left knee, or if you want to go into it with a straight leg, that's okay too. Inhale, find space, rib cage away from the hips. Exhale as you cross over left elbow to the outside of the right thigh. Slightly tuck the tailbone, pull the lower belly in, and then find palms in prayer. Or if you can get the hand to the floor where the shoulder touches the knee, bring the hand down. Reach the right arm over the head. You could also stay in prayer. And then if you're ready, you can lift the knee. Keep bending into the right knee. Find that space between the rib cage and the hips. Dropping the right hip down. Reaching the chest up. Maybe you're dropping that back heel also. Good. Now checking with the shoulder, the right shoulder. Externally rotating, pinky towards the ground. One more breath. Good. Inhale. Come up. So we're trying to loosen this like top torso area. Feels good, right? Other side. Inhale. Lift to find the space. Exhale. Slightly tuck the tailbone and come to the outside of the left thigh. Hands in prayer. Or right hand to the floor. Good. Just find your version. Wherever you are. Hold it. With a steady mind, steady breath. 2. Good. Find that space, rib cage in the hips. Left hip moves down, chest moves up. 4. 5. Good. Fully exhaling. Inhale, coming out. Exhale, Samasitihi. Prasarita Padottanasana. Inhale, step the right foot back, feet parallel to each other, hands to the hips, deep breath in. Exhale, hands to the floor. Inhale, lift the chest, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, fold. Legs are strong as you relax along the back. 1. 2, if the elbows are bent, move the elbows towards each other and the shoulders away from the ears. So this starts to mimic the position before we push up into Urdhva Danurasana. You want the elbows to move in towards each other to bring the shoulders into external rotation. So it's kind of like counterintuitive, but it makes sense if you feel it in the body. If the elbows move away from each other, then the shoulders start to go into internal rotation and they start to move towards the ears. So that's not a supportive place for the shoulders to be to bear weight. Take one more breath. We'll revisit that again when we do Urdhva Danurasana. Inhale, lift the chest. Hold it on the exhale. Strong legs. Inhale, come all the way up to the top. Hands to the hips. Exhaling there. B, inhale, reach the arms to the side. Exhale, hands back to your hips. Inhale, deep breath in. Exhale, folds forward. Keep the hands on the hips. 1, slowing down the breath here. 2, elbows towards each other, shoulders away from the ears. 3, 4, 5. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhaling at the top. C, inhale, reach the arms out. Exhale, we're going to internally rotate the shoulders, bring the arms behind the back. Interlace the fingers. So let's just stop here for a moment. Let's do the opposite. Externally rotate, and then you kind of like pop the chest and bring the shoulder blades together. Now instead of doing that, roll the shoulders forward and move the shoulders away from each other. Okay, exhale, fold forward. Try to keep that position in the shoulders as you move the hands away from the hips. And just let the shoulders go where they naturally go. Don't push them into external rotation because maybe you think you're going to get the hands closer to the ground. Don't worry about that. Relax the shoulder blades away from each other. Relax the neck. Good. And then maybe a little bit of an activation once you find that comfortable internal rotation to see if you can get the arms a little bit further. Good. One more breath. Inhale, come all the way up to the top. Exhaling there. Last one. Inhale, hands to the hips. Deep breath in. Exhale, fold forward, catch the big toes. Inhale, look up and lengthen. Exhale, fold. 1. Make sure the shoulders are away from the ears. 2. 3. The legs are burning. Just keep engaging through the legs, stabilizing through the legs, and releasing through the back. 4. Stay with it. Steady mind. 5. Inhale, lift the chest. Hold it on the exhale. Inhale, come all the way up to the top. Exhale into Samasitihi. Good. Voltanasana, bring the hands into reverse prayer. So now we're bringing the shoulders into internal rotation. So spinning the thumbs down into internal rotation. And then from there, you can either bring the palms together or the fists together, or grab onto opposite elbows. Inhale, step the right foot back. Square the hips, square the shoulders towards the back. Exhale, fold over the right leg, folding into that right hip crease. 1. Keep lifting through the elbows, spreading through the collarbones. 2. And drawing the shoulders down the back. 3. 4. 5. Inhale, come all the way up, pivot around, face the front, squaring towards the front. Exhale, fold. 1. 2. Drawing in the lower belly. 3. 4. 5. Inhale, come all the way up to the top. Exhale into Samasthiti. Good. Let's do a quick time check. Okay. Top of the mat, feet together. Inhale, arms over your head, palms touch. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step or jump back. Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Feel the space through the front body. Ribcage moves away from the hips. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let's just do Utkatasana before we come down to the floor. Inhale, jump both feet forward. Bend the knees. Lift the chest. 1. Feel the external rotation through the shoulders. Shoulders wrapping around towards the front. As you lift through the fingertips, keep the elbows moving towards each other. 3. 4. 5. Exhale, bring the hands down, keep the knees bent. Inhale, lift one foot up towards the butt or both feet into Voltanasana. Exhale, jump back, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. Inhale, jump through to seated. If you don't know how to jump through, you can just sink the knees, cross the shins, and roll over the feet. Let's come into Dandasana. Hands next to your hips. Flex the feet, keep the feet together. Engage through the legs, strong legs. Grounding down through the heels. And then find the shoulders over the hips, lift through the center of the chest, and tuck the chin down. Find the breath, pull the lower belly in. And I want you to feel here the breath moving into the rib cage. So feeling that expansion through all sides of the rib cage when you inhale, feeling the expansion through the sides of the rib cage, through the back, and not just the front. We're used to expanding through the front. But start to bring some awareness through the sides, feel that expansion through the side, and expansion through the back. Keep the lower belly pulled in. Just feel the diaphragm expanding in all directions and the rib cage creating more space for the breath. Good. See if you can find new spaces to breathe into. And then on the exhale, everything moves back in towards the center. Good. So I've found that this awareness of breath has helped me deepen my back bends just by having new spaces to move into, and more mobility around that upper part of the torso helps me find more opening into the upper back. Take one more breath here. Good. And release that. It's Voltanasana. Inhale, folds forward, catch the big toes. Bend the knees if you need to. Lengthen, move the rib cage away from the hips. And then exhale, fold, keep drawing in the lower belly. Keep the legs strong so the lower back can relax and the hamstrings can release. 1, 2, don't let the shoulders creep up towards the ears. 4, keep drawing in the lower belly. 5, inhale, look up and lengthen. Hold it on the exhale. Let's take a deeper grip. If that's deep enough for you, you can stay there. Catch the outsides of the feet or interlace behind the feet. Exhale, fold. 1. Keep the legs strong, lifting through the kneecaps, pressing the heels down. 2, finding space deep in the pelvis. 3, see if you can feel that expansion through the sides and through the back. 4, 5. Inhale, look up and lengthen. Exhale there and release that. Keep the legs straight, point the feet. We're going to go straight into Voltanasana. So you're going to internally rotate the shoulders, move the hands back behind the hips. And again, check in with the shoulders. Internally rotating so the shoulders are kind of moving forward and the shoulder blades away from each other. So similar to when we interlace the fingers behind the back. So you don't want to pinch the shoulder blades here. Keep rolling the shoulders forward. This is tricky to feel, so just have patience as you start to build this new awareness through the shoulders. We're going to inhale, press through the hands, lift through the hips. 1, keep pressing through the hands, rolling the shoulders forward and lifting through the chest. 3, lifting through the pelvis. 4, feet touching. 5, exhale, come down. Good. Let's take a vinyasa, cross the shins, roll over the feet or jump back into a plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, jump through to seated. Let's do Urdhva Danurasana. So we're going to bring the right leg into lotus. I won't get too much into breaking down lotus. Bringing the foot up towards the heel, up towards the navel, and the outside edge of the foot up towards the left hip crease. Okay, and just bring the foot up as high as you can on that left thigh. And now internally rotating to the right shoulder, wrap it around, maybe catching the foot, catching the outside of the left foot. Exhale, fold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, look up and lengthen. Exhale there. Release that. Let's do the other side. Bend the left knee. Bring the heel up towards the navel and the outside edge of the foot towards the right hip crease. And as high up as you can get that foot on the right thigh. Wrap the left arm around the back. Catch the foot maybe, maybe not. Catch the outside of the right foot. Exhale, fold. And kind of pulling the lower belly in and try to get the rib cage over that left foot. So if you're not in the full lotus, that'll be hard. But see if you can just move that rib cage over the left foot as much as you can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, look up. Exhale, release. Good. Let's take a vinyasa. Cross the ankles. Inhale, lift. Make your way into a plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Press the shoulders, lift the center of the chest. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, jump through to seated. Let's do Marichasana A. Bring the right knee in towards the chest. Align the foot with the outside edge of the right foot. Inhale, reach forward, so you're trying to pass the torso, so it passes the shin. And then maybe taking the bind. So now we're internally rotating through the shoulder, wrapping it around to the back. Maybe binding behind the back, and then exhale, folding. If this is too much for you to take the bind, you can also just stay in this forward fold, catching the inside of the left foot, and just work on that forward fold aspect of Marichasana A. 3. Keeping that knee in close towards the side of the body. 4. Keep internally rotating through the right shoulder. So don't let that shoulder kind of come up and squeeze up. Relax the right shoulder down. One more breath. Inhale, look up and lengthen. Exhale there. Let's switch sides. Left knee in towards the chest. Make sure there's space between the right leg and the left foot. Exhale, reach forward, fold into that left hip crease, and then internally rotate through the left shoulder to bind behind the back. Exhale, fold. 1. The shoulder blades down the back, internally rotating to the left shoulder. 2. 3. 4. 5. Inhale, look up. Exhale, release. Let's take a vinyasa, cross the shins. Inhale, lift. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. Inhale, jump through to seated. Let's do Marichasana C. So we're going to again bend the right knee. And you're going to lean back into that right hand and start to create space between the ribcage and the hips. First, by moving the ribcage to the side. So before we go into the stretch, even if you do Marichasana, just go through this process with me. You're going to lean to the side, so you're coming into that lateral stretch where the torso passes the right thigh and the ribcage starts to kind of isolate itself from the hips. So really finding that lateral stretch. And then once you're here, you're going to push into the right hand forward. So you're going to shift forward and try to get the outside of the left shoulder to touch the outside of the right knee. And then if you're here, the elbow's passing the shin, then internally rotate through the shoulder, bend the elbow, and take the bind behind the back. If you can't make the bind, you can use a strap, or you can stop anywhere along that pathway that I just showed you. Good, you can even have the elbow bent here if that works for you, with the right hand behind the back. 1, hold it wherever you are and feel that space between the rib cage and the hips. Pull the lower belly in, lift through the center of the chest. 3, maybe gazing over the right shoulder. 4, breathing in through the sides and through the back. 5, good, release that. Other side, show it from this so you can get a different perspective. Bend the left knee, and first, before you go into the twist, come back into that left hand, lean back, and find that lateral stretch. Slightly tucking the tailbone, pulling the lower belly in, and just like kind of wiggle into this. Really finding that isolation, the rib cage moving to the side. Once you feel like you have that lateral stretch, shift forward, press into that left hand to bring you forward, make that contact. Torso is in close contact with the thigh. And then if you're ready, internally rotating to the shoulder and taking the bind. Maybe, maybe not. 1. So just kind of like bringing awareness to the relationship between the hips and the rib cage. 2. Finding new spaces to breathe into. The front of the body is kind of not available right now, so you have to find through the sides of the rib cage, through the back, find expansion and contraction there. 4, 5, good. Releasing that, let's take a vinyasa. Cross the shins, inhale, lift up. Exhale, jump back. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Okay, now we're going to shift back into a plank. Exhale, come all the way down to your stomach. Let's come into Sphinx Pose. So you're going to bring the elbows underneath the shoulders. And I like this a lot because it's really helped me find the pattern of moving into the upper back for back bends. So we're here, we're going to activate the Sphinx Pose. Normally this is like a yin yoga pose and we just kind of make it really passive and relaxed, but we're going to do the Ashtanga version and make it active. But still have that like ease and relaxation. Always super important. So you're going to press down through the tops of the feet into the mat, lift the kneecaps. So the legs are super strong now. And you're going to press the pubic bone down into the floor. Press the elbows down and back towards the hips. And you're going to use that as leverage to help you move the rib cage away from the hips, pull the center of the chest forward. So it feels like you're pulling the center of the chest through in between the shoulder blades. Keep the shoulders pressing down, keep the legs strong. So you're keeping the hips in place, pressing the hips down and moving the rib cage away from the hips. So you're finding space through the front side of the body. And then slightly engaging the back muscles to keep lengthening the front body, dragging the elbows back towards you to reach the chest and the rib cage forward and up. Hold it for 3 more breaths. 3, find a steady breath. 4, now check in with the glutes. See if you can relax the glutes. 5, exhale, relax. Good. It's crazy how like such a simple posture can get really hard. Okay, just like do a certain intention. Let's do that one more time. Press to the tops of the feet, lift the kneecaps, keep the legs in place. So it's sort of like the tops of the feet pressing into the mat or keeping the hips in place so that when you press the elbows down and back, your hips don't drag forward. The only thing that's dragging forward is the rib cage moving forward to find space, moving into the upper back. 2, let's do 5 breaths. 3, 4, 5, relax, and replace the elbows with the hands. Inhale into upward facing dog. You're going to have to shift the hips forward a little bit and lift the rib cage up. And you can even find the same pattern here, slightly dragging the hands back to reach the rib cage forward and up as the hips sink down. Exhale into downward facing dog. Okay. Inhale, jump through to seated. And we do another quick time check. All right, yeah, okay, it's time to get into Urdhva Danurasana. So exhale, lie down on your back. Bend the knees, plant the feet along the outside edge of the hips. And you want the feet as close as you can towards the hips. You should be able to touch the feet. If you can't, then, I don't know, you may or may, it depends on your practice and your body. But some people say that maybe you're not ready for Urdhva Danurasana, but don't ignore me because that just is very personal. Okay, make sure the feet are parallel to each other. Let's just start with bridge pose. Inhale, press into the feet, lift through the hips. 1, so you can grab onto the ankles or interlace the fingers. 2, just warming up here. Keep reaching the knees forward and the chest towards the chin. 3, deep rhythmic breathing. 4, 5, exhale, roll down the spine. Good. All right, so you can do bridge pose again. If you want to try Urdhva Danurasana, you can join me. So you're going to bend the elbows and bring the hands next to the ears. So position of the hands, not too close to the ears. You don't want them touching the ears. Give the shoulders a little bit more space. So bring the hands kind of on the outside edge of the shoulders. Maybe in line with the shoulders or on the outside edge of the shoulders. And now, remember we talked about in Prasarita Padottanasana, move the elbows in towards each other to bring the shoulders into external rotation. Spread the fingers. The fingertips should be pointing towards the shoulders, or if you need to, you can angle them out a little bit. The only thing you shouldn't do is angle them in, because then notice how that brings the elbows away from each other and the shoulders into internal rotation. So fingertips towards the shoulders, or angled out a little bit, because that starts to bring the elbows in towards each other, and that's what we want. Inhale, let's just come to the top of the head, press through the hands, press through the feet, just flip the head under. And again, let's check in with the shoulders, elbows in, So the shoulders are moving away from each other, shoulders into external rotation, and the shoulders are moving away from the ears. Good. And if you want, try the opposite. Move the shoulders away, move the elbows away from each other. Notice how that kind of brings the shoulders towards the ears. And that's not a supportive place for the shoulders to bear weight. And we're about to bear weight here, so we want the shoulders to be really stable. Elbows in towards each other. Okay, inhale as you press into the feet and straighten the arms. Start to move the chest over the hands. And this is where shoulder flexibility comes in, where upper back mobility comes in. So moving the chest over the shoulders by straightening the legs. 3, relax the neck. 4, keep actively externally rotating the shoulders so the upper back gets really wide. 5, exhale, come down to your head. Maybe walking the hands in. And again, adjusting the elbows towards each other. Make sure the hands aren't too close to each other. Inhale, press into the legs, straighten the arms, and move the chest over the hands. 1, feel the space through the front side of the body to move into the upper back. 2, 3, press through the feet, lift the pelvis up. 4, find as much space through the front of the body. 5, exhale, come down. All right, let's take a break. We're going to do one more back bend here that helps us to kind of get more into the shoulders. Okay, so it's kind of like we're going to use the hand position of like headstand for the back bend. So if you're kind of done and you just want to watch, that's cool too. So come back into the top of the head position, flip the head under, and I'll switch your hand position to like a headstand position where you interlace the hands on the back of the head and you bring the elbows in line with the shoulders. Good. And then from here, just kind of making sure my hair is in place. From here, you can bring the feet together and start to straighten the legs and just feel the back bend moving into the upper back. Keep the elbows shoulder width apart. If you want, you can lift the head and that starts to take you a little bit more into the shoulders, straightening the legs as much as it's comfortable in the shoulder. If you feel pain in the shoulder joint, then just back off a little bit. Good. Feel the back bend moving into the upper back. Rib cage moving away from the hips. Good. Wherever you are, let's take 3 more breaths. 3, 4, 5. And slowly come down, tuck the chin, and slowly roll down so the hands kind of end up in the upper back, and then release the arms. Good, that's really intense. Hug the knees in. So hopefully if that was hard, then you'll just know where your limitation is. Okay, sometimes people think that they're not strong enough to press into Urdhva Danurasana, but a lot of times it's just the shoulders aren't flexible enough. It just depends on your body and your circumstance. Okay, inhale, rock up to seated. Let's do a forward fold. Inhale, catch the feet. Exhale, fold. 1, 2, relaxing the back. 3, strong Mula Bandha. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Inhale, come out. Let's take a quick vinyasa. Inhale into a plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, jump through to seated. Find a comfortable seated position. You can take full lotus if that's accessible to you, or just half lotus with the other foot tucked underneath. Take the bind or just grab onto opposite elbows. Deep breath in. Exhale, fold forward. 1, turning inwards, following the breath. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, stay with the breath. 7, 8, 9, 10. Inhale, come all the way up. Release the arms, bring the wrist towards the knees and the pointer towards the thumb. Straighten the arms. Lengthen the spine, tuck the chin. 1. Establish a long, steady breath. Slowing down the breath. 2. Following the breath all the way through the inhale, all the way through the exhale. 3. Steadying the mind by following the breath. 4. 5. Keep the lower belly pulled in. Find the expansion and contraction all around the rib cage. 6. 7. 8. If the mind wandered, gently returning the attention to the breath, moving into the body and out of the body. As many times as you need to redirect the attention, the one-pointed focus to the breath. Continue strengthening that pathway back to presence. 10. Good. Release that. Uplotihi, hands in front of the hips. Stay in lotus or just cross the shins and bring the knees to your chest. Inhale, lift up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stay with it. 6. If you came down, come right back up. 7, 8, 9. Stay with it. Come back up. 10. Exhale, come down. Good. All right, let's take one final vinyasa. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, jump through to seated. And exhale, find Shavasana. Final resting pose. Completely relaxing the body. So just letting go of everything we just did. Everything we talked about. And just being here. Relaxing. Feeling the backside of the body making contact with the ground. Feeling the support from the ground beneath you. You can stay here longer if you need to, but if you're ready, start to wake up the body, making small movements. Deepening the breath. And when you're ready, you bring the knees to the chest. And come over to the right side to make your way back up to seated, if you're ready. And then just finding a comfortable seat here for a moment, resting the hands wherever it's comfortable. Relaxing the shoulders, all the muscles in the face. And observe the breath. And bring the palms to heart center. And we'll finish with the closing mantra, starting with an Om. Take a deep breath in. Om. Swasti prajabhyaha paripalayantan nyayena margena mahim mahishaha Go brahmanebhyaha shubhamastu nityam lokhaha samastaha sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Thank you so much for being here. Namaste. Thanks for being